Is making a deal for one of the biggest targets on the trade market a feasible idea for the St. Louis Cardinals? We'll talk about it today on Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter, X at JD Sports Radio. You can also follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We do want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on YouTube. Again, thank you to everyone who got us to 10,000 subscribers. Still growing, still going. So if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and comment, and interact with us. Don't be shy. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. So the St. Louis Cardinals just took 2 of 3 from the Atlanta Braves, which once again, if you're new to the channel and you're watching on YouTube, it's why I'm wearing this hideous old man St. Louis Cardinals button-up shirt. First off, it's kind of comfortable. Second off, we wear them when we get series victories, and that's what they got by splitting the doubleheader on Wednesday. We're going to talk more about those games specifically later on in the episode. But before we get to that, I want to circle back and talk about one of the biggest trade pieces on the market heading towards the trade deadline, which is coming up at the end of July. And that is Chicago White Sox outfielder Luis Robert Jr. It's not pronounced Robert, so whoever's saying it that way, tell them to stop. That's not how he says his name. It's Luis Robert Jr. Like I mentioned, we're 1 month away from the trade deadline, and I'm telling you, it's going to sneak up on us really, really quick, especially with the Cardinals playing well and winning ball games. If they continue to do that, it's going to get here quick. It's going to get here quick. So just be ready. And the White Sox are one of those teams that have some of the biggest names available. Luis Robert Jr. being arguably the biggest one. Garrett Crochet, if they decide to trade him, big left-hander, young. I mean, if they decide to trade him, that's going to be a huge piece. Personally, I would trade more to get Garrett Crochet right now than I would Luis Robert Jr. I just know that pitching is that much more important. They've also got Eric Fetty, somebody we've talked about on this show as well. All 3 of them seemingly available for a deal, and probably anyone else you want from the current roster of the Chicago White Sox. I can't imagine there's any untouchables on the roster right now. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with Luis Robert Jr., 26-year-old outfielder for the White Sox, was a guy the Cardinals almost got, if you remember, because he was coming out of Cuba, and the Cardinals were right there for the signing of Luis Robert Jr. They ended up losing the bidding war to the White Sox for a couple of different reasons. I mean, you can say that the Cardinals were being cheap and didn't want to buck up as much as Chicago did, but there was problems with like what the signing bonus money had to be, where their international signing cap was at the time. So there were a couple of different reasons why he ended up in Chicago instead of St. Louis. The bottom line is they tried. The Cardinals did try to get him. They thought enough of him that they got into the bidding war to try to get him, and the White Sox were just able to outbid him. So that's life. That's life. Robert Jr. was the runner-up for the American League Rookie of the Year award. It was during the COVID year of 2020. Do you remember who he lost to? Does anybody remember who he lost to? It's a dude who is not even in the league anymore. Give up? Okay. Outfielder Kyle Lewis, who was playing for the Seattle Mariners at the time. I mean, COVID year, that was a weird year, man. Weird year for everybody. Trevor Bauer getting the Cy Young Award. He's not in the league anymore, even though people keep begging teams to sign him. For some reason, teams aren't doing it. Jose Abreu was your MVP. He's not in the league anymore. The Astros DFA'd him and ate a ton of money. Don Mattingly was your NL Manager of the Year. Like, think about how much has changed just in a couple of years. Robert finished second in the voting there. He did win a Gold Glove that first year, and then had a couple of seasons in 2021 and 2022 where injuries were the problem. Played less than 100 games in both of those seasons, but he was still really good. 2021, he was having a hell of a season. Was hitting .338, 13 home runs, 43 RBIs in just 68 games that year. But he tore a hip flexor, his right side hip flexor, out for a long time. OPS plus that year was 151, just sickening. Dude was a monster. 2022, he plays in just 98 games due to a wrist injury. Got hit by a pitch, slash 284, 12 home runs, 56 RBI. So still pretty darn good. But it all came together last year at the plate. He was finally healthy for most of the year, 145 games, only hit 264, but we know how batting average isn't really looked at quite as much as it used to be. Smashes 38 bombs. He drove an 80. He had 20 stolen bases. OPS plus of 129. Really good defender. Was an all-star. He won the Silver Slugger Award. Even got a few MVP votes. I mean, dude was really, really good. So a lot of expectations coming into 2024 for Luis Robert Jr., but he gets hurt again. Right hip flexor strain, the same hip that he hurt in 2021. So he's only played in 27 games. He's hitting a very underwhelming 190. 7 home runs, 11 RBIs, the OPS plus at 101, but he's on a team that is going nowhere. He doesn't appear that he really wants to be there all that much anymore. I don't know anybody who really does. But he's still got a lot of value because he's only 26. He'll be 27 in August. He's under team control until 2028 when he's going to be a free agent at the age of 30. The talent is real. Clearly things are bad in Chicago. The White Sox are entertaining offers for him. And they're hoping to get a massive haul in return for him. I read somewhere, and I forget where it was and who it did, so I apologize to whoever had it, but that they were hoping for a Juan Soto type of haul that, like the Nationals got to make the trade with the Padres. He is not Juan Soto by any means, but probably going to be the top outfielder available. And there's just a lot of upside to it. And like I mentioned, with the team control and the contract stuff, people are going to be very much attracted to try to getting him on their team. And what happens if you do get him and you unlock him to be the guy that he was last year and he stays healthy for you? I mean, wow, right? But they're hoping to get a massive haul for him. They want a lot for Crochet. They're going to want some pretty decent for Fetty. They also thought they were going to get a massive haul for Dylan Cease, and I don't really think what the Padres gave up would be deemed a massive haul. It was good, but not what I think they were shooting for when we first started hearing rumors about Dylan Cease getting moved. So didn't quite pan out the way I think they thought it would. But he's going to be someone that people want. And with so many teams still in the playoff picture, the White Sox are kind of have their pick of the litter of where he goes. Now, MLB.com's Mike Petriello recently did a write-up about 10 teams that could target Luis Robert Jr., and he has the Cardinals as one of the 10 teams. So here's what he had to say about them. First, he lists why it should be them. Why should the Cardinals be interested in this guy? Well, here's what he's got. Because their center fielders are hitting 192, 236, 254. This is not a typo. Victor Scott II gave way to Mike Ciani, and while Ciani's defense has been excellent, this group is in contention for the worst hitting center field group in history. Also, not a typo. That lack of success belies the fact that St. Louis has actually played quite well lately and currently holds an NL wildcard spot. Robert, if he plays like he did last year, would be a true game changer. And with fan patience growing thin after 2023's downturn, the front office might be willing to be aggressive. All fair points, right? We love Michael Ciani. We think he's fantastic in center field. I love Michael Ciani. I'm a huge fan of this guy. But yeah, offensively, not what you're looking for, really. You know, he doesn't offer a ton. Had a couple hits yesterday, which is always nice, offers the speed, but clearly defensive baseball is his strong suit. It's not so much hitting from the hitting at all. And again, he's also a left-handed bat, which the Cardinals have a ton of. So Luis Robert Jr. being right-handed, something that they're kind of looking for to add to the lineup if they were to make a deal. Why he says it won't be the Cardinals making the trade for Luis Robert Jr. says pitching might be a larger concern, and the lack of production from either Paul Goldschmidt or Nolan Arenado may influence how heavily they want to go in on this roster. Now, that's something that I brought up already. Does Luis Robert Jr. automatically make you a World Series contender? I don't think so. I don't. It's the team, as great as they're playing right now, obviously there's still some issues with the roster. You know, there are some places that you need improvement. Is a center fielder exactly what you need right now? Is that going to make you the best team possible? Or Should you be looking for somebody to be a number 4, number 5, or more for you in that rotation? Would that make a bigger difference for the team? And that's where I have an issue with making a trade for Robert Jr. Now, the other teams he lists as possible suitors, you've got the Phillies, the Mariners, the Braves, Cubs, Royals, Rangers, Dodgers, Orioles, and the Pirates. So you got 3 NL Central teams there. I don't see any of those 3 making the deal. I don't see the Cardinals. I definitely don't see the Pirates giving up anything to do that. And then the Cubs, the Cubs kind of feel like a sinking ship. If they don't turn things around quickly, I don't know that they are adding anybody, to be honest with you. I can see the Braves making a deal, considering they lost Ronald Acuna Jr. The Orioles have talent for days in their organization to trade away if they wanted to grab them. Dodgers could do it because they can do almost anything they want. Plus, they've lost Mookie Betts for a while, so maybe they need to add another bat and feel like, hey, let's just go get him too. The Mariners would be very interesting, I think, too. They're having a very strong season out west. Robert Jr. and Julio Rodriguez in the same outfield seems like that'd be kind of a fun idea if you're a fan of Seattle. And as much fun as it is to speculate about these things, and we're going to continue to do it all the way up to the trade deadline because it's fun, it's entertaining, and you never know when things are going to happen. I just don't see the Cardinals ponying up for what Chicago wants to get him. And we know that despite his offensive shortcomings, Michael Ciani has been really, really good in center field, saving runs for this team. You believe that Tommy Edman's going to return in the second half at some point, although he just had another setback, twisted his ankle. So that's just another injury that he's got to worry about right now. And Jordan Walker. Is Jordan Walker going to be back here? Lars Nootbaar, is he coming back here, healthy and ready to go too? And who are the White Sox going to ask for? Probably Jordan Walker, Victor Scott, Tink Hence, Tekoa Roby, Chase Davis, Thomas Sajaci, a lot of the guys that the Cardinals just rebuilt this organization with as far as how their prospects go. And are you ready to just empty it out again already for Luis Robert Jr.? I just cannot see the Cardinals parting ways with a group of those guys to make a deal work to get this deal done. The injury history is something I'm very concerned about. He's had one healthy season, and we're not talking about a guy in his late 20s, early 30s. We're talking a guy in his early 20s when all these injuries kept happening. You're not supposed to get hurt as much when you're younger. You're supposed to be able to handle that kind of stuff, and it hasn't worked out for him. Like, he's not going to get healthier as he gets older, is he? So for me, again, fun to chat about. Doesn't seem all that realistic for the Cardinals. But let me know your thoughts down below. Next up, I want to get into what happened in yesterday's doubleheader, where a rare wild outing by one of their most dependable pitchers led to their demise in Game 1. This is Locked On Cardinals. Here on Locked On Cardinals, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year-round. And you know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS is just going to stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. They want your money. The IRS can garnish your wages. They can levy your bank accounts and even seize your property. So don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. Now, I've got like 5 different broadcasting jobs, so tax time is it's a little bit confusing for me. A lot of numbers, a lot of paperwork. That's why you go with the experts who have over 14 years of experience with an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. So whether you owe taxes, you've got complicated matters that require tax planning like I do, or you finally hit that parlay this season and need some help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000, or you can visit tnusa.com/lockedon. You can check out the link in this episode description, which is down below, and in the show notes as well. Why wait and keep stressing over all of this? Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals by calling 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. Passion, drive, and patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, could be power, could be style. You want the whole package? eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for, and with eBay Guaranteed Fit, that part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. So keep your ride or die alive by going to ebay.com/motors. Once again, that's ebay.com/motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available in the United States to the U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Are you watching Fox Sports on ESPN or ESPN, I should say, on your TV all day? And I got to turn it down because I keep shouting at you. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. Don't deal with that shouting. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel, and it's programmed for you every single day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Remember, you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. That feedback always welcome and encouraged. Lots to hear from you when it comes to the Luis Robert Jr. trade speculation. Want your thoughts on that? Obviously, probably a lot of good things to say about what just happened on Wednesday. The Atlanta Braves, one of the best teams and best organizations in all of baseball, despite losing the reigning NL MVP in Ronald Acuna Jr., one of the top Cy Young candidates in the National League in Spencer Strider. The team has hardly skipped a beat. They came into St. Louis winners of 8 of their last 10. They've got perennial all-stars in Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Sean Murphy, Max Fried. They've got the resurgence of former Cardinal Marcell Ozuna and Chris Sale. Those have been huge additions to this team. And the Cardinals take 2 of 3. Now, Cardinals did get lucky. Didn't have to face Sale or Fried in the series. Instead, it was Spencer Schwellenbach. Reynaldo Lopez, another guy who's just been awesome out of nowhere for the Braves this year. And then Bryce Elder. So not exactly the top pitchers for the Braves. Lopez is, but Schwellenbach and Elder, they're not Fried or Sale. Okay, let's be honest. But that's not the Cardinals' fault. They can only come out and play the team that the other side fields against them. So you do what you got to do. They get the 4-3 win on Monday. Then the rain on Tuesday forces a doubleheader yesterday. Game 1 was a reminder that good pitching can usually stop good hitting and that walks will haunt you. Cardinals fall in Game 1 6-2. In that game, you saw the return of Kyle Gibson, who missed his last start in Miami when his back tightened up in pregame. And then like 15 minutes before the game was supposed to start, he's out. Matthew Liberatore has to come in. And Gibson hadn't pitched since June 14th because of this. Been one of your top arms this year. Very consistent, very dependable, but he looked rather rusty on Wednesday. I guess you can expect that. The real issue for Gibson was just the control. Season high 5 walks in the game and just 4 innings pitched, which was tied for a season low of innings that he threw. So just not a great game for Kyle Gibson. It happens from time to time. Again, these guys are not machines. They are men. And you know as well as I do that when you give any major league team a bunch of free base runners, you're just setting yourself up for disaster. And when you do it against a team as good as the Braves, it makes life really, really tough. So Gibson's final line, 4 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. But despite the struggles of Kyle Gibson, the Cardinals were never really like out of this game. Like on the other side of the coin, it was Reynaldo Lopez for the Braves. Again, has been outstanding this year. And the Cardinals had their chances against him. They took a lot of really tough at-bats against Reynaldo Lopez. But instead of cashing in with some big hits, they were getting the sac flies instead, which normally great, right? When you're chipping away at a team, but it didn't end up being enough on this particular occasion. It happened in the bottom of the second. They're down 4-0 at this point. Matt Carpenter, bases loaded, 1 out, sac fly, brings in 1. You're fine with that. You're not upset, but Michael Ciani comes up. He strikes out. They strand 2. Bottom of the 5th. This was huge. Still 4-1. Alec Burleson up with the bases loaded, nobody out. Drives 1 deep. I mean, right guy, right time. Alec Burleson one of the hottest hitters on the planet right now. He drives one deep, sack fly. It's deep enough that all the runners move up, which is awesome. Great base running there. But your next hitter is Wilson Contreras, and he strikes out. Donnie rips one, the next hitter, but right at Jared Kelenic in center field. The inning's over. Contreras whiffing there. Huge. Like, you got to put the ball in play there when everybody has scooted up there. And to have your number 3 guy go down on strikes like that, that sucks. That really cripples your inning. At this point, it's 4-2, and you're only down 2 runs, but Kelenic would homer in the next half inning off Kyle Leahy to make it 6-2, which is how the game ended. You did see the return of Giovanni Gallegos. Had a long but scoreless inning. The velo looked good. My thoughts on what Gallegos offered, the velo looked good. He was throwing 93, 94. I saw that he was expected to throw 2 innings. He threw, I think it was like 22, 23 pitches. So it was a long inning for Gio, some deep counts. He ends up going only 1 inning, but they said it was due to some dizziness that he was dealing with, not because the pitch count or anything. So hopefully he's feeling better today. John King also tossed another scoreless inning. He's been fantastic this year. Cardinals, it was one of those days. Cardinals were hitting the ball in the screws on a number of different occasions, and it would go right at a Braves defender. And there's nothing you can do about it. Just one of those games. It happens in the game of baseball. Team finishes with 6 walks. I mentioned they took a lot of tough at-bats against Lopez, but only got 4 hits. They were 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and they left 8 men on base. So game 2, they were hoping for better results. They had Matthew Liberatore getting the start, and for the second year in a row, it's been a bit of a yo-yo act with one of the Cardinals' top young arms last year, Zach Thompson, who kept floating back and forth between starting and relieving. This year, it's been Libby. And from all accounts, the Cardinals realize how good he is in the bullpen, and that they want to keep him there. But the circumstances had them going with, it was deemed a bullpen game in game 2, and Libby was just the sensible choice, right? It made a lot of sense to give him the ball. How long could he go? Would he be any good? These were the real questions, and holy smokes, did he answer the bell in game 2? We're going to get into that next here on Locked On Cardinals. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, with summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games. It's time to explore those U.S. cities that you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're even talking about the rival cities, places like Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. They've got a very nice setup down on the riverfronts for those 2 stadiums with hotels and restaurants. For fans to make those experiences, visiting those cities more enjoyable. I still have not been to Pittsburgh Stadium yet, although I've been told it's one of the top 5 in all of baseball. I got to get there. Chicago, clearly a huge city, dozens and dozens and probably thousands of places by Wrigley and Wrigleyville that you can stay out. Brewers games, the tailgating in Milwaukee. Like, you would think the Packers are getting ready to play, but they're doing baseball. They tailgate before baseball games. It's insane. So you'll want to be close to the stadium to take that all in as well. And that's where Booking.com gets you the help you need, get you where you want to be. Hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more available on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. And let's not forget, parents out there, the Little League tournaments. You guys got to go all over the place for these Little League tournaments, all right, in different cities all summer long. You know what I'm talking about. Booking.com has got you covered there as well. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. So book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are more likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is LinkedIn.com/locked on for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to LinkedIn.com/locked on and get started. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows, which cover every league. NBA draft just happened last night. All right. They were all over it. So if you're an NBA draft person and you haven't checked out Locked On Sports Today, you need to go do it. You can find it available right now on the free Fire TV channels app. Matthew Liberatore, a whipping boy favorite for a lot of fans. And you know why. Do I have to get into this again? The Cardinals got him in the Randy Arozarena trade with the Rays. You know the story. Arozarena goes on to huge things in the playoffs and just in general with the Rays. Although he's having a pretty bad season this year, but just goes there and lights it up, right? Becomes a superstar. Liberatore hasn't really lived up to expectations as the first-round pick, let alone traded for a guy who ended up doing the things that Arozarena did. So people have been very, very hard on him. This year, Libby seems to have found a home in the bullpen, right? He's been pretty good there. As a reliever, he's 1-1 this year. He's got a 2.92 ERA. And I've said it before, I don't care if he's a reliever or a starter. Like, as long as you're getting positive stuff and production out of him, put him there. If he's a better reliever than a starter, then so be it. Like, you need those guys too. It's not like you're some scrub just because you're in the bullpen. Look how huge Kittredge and Romero and Helsley have been this year. And you put another top gun out there, left-handed thrower like a Liberatore, and he's really, really good out there. Let him be there, right? But circumstances change. Matz has been out with injuries again. So they tried Liberatore as a starter again. Didn't go great. Now, recently, he's had to make a couple of starts. In Miami, Gibson's back tightens up before the game. They got to have Liberatore come in and make the start instead. Then on Wednesday, the Cardinals had the doubleheader. Going with a bullpen game makes sense to start Matthew Liberatore. He's been a starter before. Now in Miami, I know it started off bad. A couple of home runs, first two people that he faced, but he settled in after that. And then on Wednesday, he just kept on rolling because he looked good in Miami after the first two hitters. And Wednesday, he was incredible. He fires off 6 shutout innings. He allows just 2 hits. He strikes out 8. He was magnificent. And now here's the thing, too, is he was only expected to throw 60 to 65 pitches. That was kind of the target area for him. But because he was so good and he was so dominant and seemingly as strong as ever when he went out there for the 6th inning, Ollie let him go out there for the 6th. And he ends up tossing 85 total pitches. He strikes out the side in the 6th inning. It's not like he was laboring or anything. He looked great. He looked as strong as ever. After the game, Ollie had this to say about the outing. He was in control of that whole outing, and the game looked slow to him. And man, he was on the attack. He was incredible. He took advantage of this opportunity and took a huge step forward. Now, let's pump the brakes for a second. I don't think all of a sudden you need to put Matthew Liberatore as your number 5 after this one game. Like, I'm not ready to do that yet. I know Palante's had a couple of rough outings recently, so it might be something you're tempted to think about, but let's just hold off, okay? Let's just hold off. I mean, he could be the answer eventually, but I'm just not ready to just thrust him in because I don't want him to start regressing again. It would freak me out. Like, if he goes out there and bombs in a start again, then look how much damage we've done already. And you've lost a guy in the bullpen. So this was as good as we've seen him since he faced the Tampa Bay Rays last year, right? When he was brilliant in a victory over them. And this was huge for the team on this day because they've had to do a lot of juggling recently with the rotation in the bullpen because of how the schedule was playing out and injuries that have occurred, and the weather has been strange. So kudos to Matthew Liberatore. That was awesome to watch, and it makes me happy to see these guys who have struggled a bit step up and have some success. Like, it's cool to see Matthew Liberatore smiling in the dugout with Dusty Blake chatting and laughing a little bit about, hey, we did pretty good today. Following Libby, Chris Roycroft, who was the 27th man in the doubleheader yesterday, an impressive scoreless inning. I really like what I see out of Roycroft, and I know he's kind of raw, and he's still figuring things out. We know he didn't cover first base in that one game, and it's cost him. I know. But I like how he's a huge man. He's this huge guy out there, and he just looks mean. He looks nasty. He's got fire to him. I dig that. He's got a lot of movement on that two-seamer, dude. That thing is wicked. So I'm impressed with what they've gotten out of Roycroft so far, and I hope he continues to be somebody that they consider a part of this team moving forward. He'll probably get sent back. I haven't seen any transactions today, but being that he was the 27th man, he's probably going back. But, you had JoJo Romero coming in. He inherited a runner that scored, charged to Andrew Kittredge, who, let's be honest, he's worked a lot. Got 2 quick outs yesterday, and then he allows, I think it was 3 straight hits, and it just snowballed on Kit a little bit. And I'm very worried about these guys with the amount of usage they've had here in the first half, that they're going to be toasted by the second half of the season. By the time we get to August, I'm concerned about it. So it's nice to have guys like a Roycroft waiting in the wings that can help maybe take on some of these situations where Kit might need an extra day or two. But that cut the lead to 2-1, and it was Ryan Helsley coming on in the 9th inning. At this point, the score is 4-1, making life tough on himself. Again, he walks a guy, then a single before he finally closes it out for his 28th save of the season. The walks, man. Helsley has got to figure this out. Like, your stuff is so good. Like, we got to find the zone with Helsley. I don't know what it is, but the walks are a problem. But 28 saves in a row. Like, are we gonna bitch and moan too much? Offensively, Alec Burleson, he stays out 2 for 4, 2 more RBIs. He had the 1-out double in the 8th inning, which was followed by 2-out singles by Goldie and Donnie, which added some breathing room to make it 4-1, which was nice to have that, because you know that Helsley's going to make things interesting. Michael Ciani, my dude, 2 hits, made another outstanding catch in the first inning on Ozuna. Just a well-played, solid victory, and it gave the Cardinals a series win over the Atlanta Braves, which is nothing to sneeze at. They are very, very good. Cardinals have now won 5 of their last 6. They got another division rival coming to town this weekend. The Cincinnati Reds are here for the first time in St. Louis. 4-game series starts on Thursday night. Miles Michaelis gets your start against left-hander Andrew Abbott, who the Cardinals hit pretty well when they faced him in Cincinnati earlier this year. Reds are 12-11 in June, but recently have not been good. Lost back-to-back games against the Pirates. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They've fallen to 37-43 on the year. They're dealing with injuries galore. You got to keep your eye on a couple of guys. Elly De La Cruz, obviously the number 1 dog in their lineup, has been hitting much better recently for them, was on a bit of a cold streak, but he's starting to warm up. And then Cardinal killer, the one guy that always kills the Cardinals is Jonathan India. Constantly. And guess who's their hottest hitter right now? Jonathan India. Keep that in mind when you're making bets, by the way, in this series. He's been scorching hot. 571 over his last 6 games. Like, has multiple hits in, I don't know, like 4 or 5 consecutive games. Something ridiculous. Like, he's on fire. So keep an eye on those 2 guys. The rest of the lineup hasn't really been doing much. You know, Jeimer Candelario was a big free agent signing for them. He's dealing with knee tendonitis, so that's been a problem. And hopefully the Cardinals can go out and take care of business over these next 4 days. They took 2 of 3 in Cincinnati earlier this month, and this is a worse Cincinnati team now than when they were playing them then. So hopefully the Cardinals can keep the momentum going. I will be at the games on Friday and Saturday, by the way. So if you see me, don't be shy. Say hi. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.